live. Are you ready? Are you ready to do it live? And I think we're live. Let's just double check, make sure. Right here, we're going. All right, we are live. A little bit early today, little Joan, and already you're starting to annoy me. Joan, can't you stay in the show and earn your keep, little fuzzy dog? Can't you do it one time? Stay in the show. Welcome to the live stream where we do it live, apparently by myself. I'm Tony D, and this is Little Joan. Little Joan appears as Frankie, the dog, in the Pineys, book 21. So you can see on the cover. I'll show you, Joan. I'll show you. There you are. There you are. See ya? You're Frankie. Yeah, that's the dog that belonged to Francis Hopkinson, signer of the Declaration of Independence. So you're a very patriotic dog, Joan. That's my tribute to you. Book 21 now on sale. As always, we're going to talk about the box office and what's going on in Hollywoke. I also will tell you about my week. What was my week? Oh, I was on the Stay Haunted podcast on Monday after I did this podcast. That was fun. That's been being promoted all this week. On Friday, I went to the Addison in Cherry Hill. I did my talk on how to hunt the Jersey Devil. And then on Saturday, I went to the Hollow, which was a film festival at Stockton University. And that was a nice little event, and I sold some books. So pretty good. And then on Sunday, it was vacation time. I went down to the shore, met some friends, and we sat on the beach and went to the boardwalk and did all kinds of shore stuff, you know. If you're in South Jersey, you know. But tonight is not about the shore, Joan. Tonight is the serious business of movies. All right, are you ready for the box office? Are you ready? All right, I got to put her down. She's too squirmy. Go ahead, Joan. Go do what you do, which is nothing. All right, so let's get to the box office this week. And this is the weekend. And, of course, Spiderman wins the day again at $39 million. Only dropping by about 45%, which is pretty good considering that this is the fourth week in a row. It stands at number one. Now, in defense of the rest of Hollywood, it's because mostly the other movies are just pretty terrible. Or they're sequels to this or that, or they're remakes, you know, the usual nonsense. So there's not a whole lot of great competition out there. Spider-Man's kind of the only game in town when you think about it. Some might argue that the Odysee is. I would not. And in fact, the Odysee finally drops to 3 this week. But let's take a look at Spider-Man, see if it's going to become the third highest grossing movie in the world, in history. And we're about $80 million away from that. So, yeah, we're right on course. I think it will. Next week, let's see. If we did 40 million domestic, probably did about 50, 60 international. That puts it at about 100 million this week. Next week, we should squeak by with about 50. And if you add the rest of the week to that, we should be at 2.3 billion. And with everything after that, because this movie, let's be honest, this movie's going to be in for at least another month, probably 2. And should make at least 2.3 something million, maybe 2.4 or even 2.5. And that's going to put it as the third highest grossing movie in the world, in history, as of now. So kudos to you. And look, Tom Holland deserves it. He's a really good Peter Parker. Zendaya is tolerable as MJ. She's, I mean, out of all the roles I've ever seen her in, this is the only one where she's kind of got some personality, right? Ned is fine. I like Ned. He's okay. I don't like Flash. Flash is not great. I don't care that they race swapped him, although why bother? He's supposed to be kind of a negative character anyway. I don't know why you bother to race swap every friggin' character but Peter. I would have gone with a bigger guy. Just a bigger guy. Gone with the football jock who's a head taller than Peter and picks on him. I don't know why you wouldn't go that way, but whatever. Flash wasn't a major part of the movie anyway. So, solid. Solid cast. And, in this movie, you got him fighting with the Punisher and fighting the Hulk and so many characters. So, I still can't wait to see it. Oh, Jesse's here. Hey, gang. Hey, Jesse. How you doing? You're the gang so far. You're the gang so far, so feel free to hang out. Let's see what's number 2. Okay, number 2 is Insidious, Out of the Further, part of the Insidious movies, doing $59 million, which isn't too bad for an $18 million movie. That's pretty damn good, actually. You're already in the black. All good. It's all good. This is basically yet another version of Poltergeist or whatever horror movie. I mean, 18 million seems like a reasonable amount of money to make a horror movie, right? You know? Oh my God, everybody's here. Jesse, Spider-Man, Brand New Day was a good movie, but bad story. The story with Jean could have been written better. Clint Miller says, hi, Tony. Hi, Joan. Hello, Jesse. Good to hear you, Clint, as well. I haven't seen it. I am, as you know, a big fan of writing good stuff. Yeah, I've heard the rumors about Jean Grey and being a bad guy and then not being really prosecuted for it. I don't know. Maybe they'll get into that later because sounds to me like they may be doing the Dark Phoenix saga, right? Jesse says, sup, Clint? The Dark Phoenix saga initially revealed that Jean Grey was kind of a dark personality. Maybe had some dark triad traits or whatever. And then, of course, bad things happened with the Phoenix. So maybe they're going down that path and they're going to make her a sort of bad guy anyway. And that's a bit of a precursor. Number 3 is the Odysee at $19.7 million. $1.4 billion. This used to be a lot of money. Now compared to Spider-Man, it's like, whatever. Yeah, I still have no interest in seeing this, but this is definitely money. It needed to do about 750. It did almost twice that. It may actually, it will probably hit double that. So, I could see this doing 1.5, no problem. No problem. Number 4 is Paw Patrol, the Dino movie, dropping by 55% in its second week. There's a lot of Paw Patrol movies. Maybe they're finally coming to the end, but that's not horrific. 9.1 million's pretty good. And are we already in the black on this thing? Well, 103 million. I would think so, but you never know with a cartoon. They might have spent too much money. They could have spent $100 million on this thing. I don't know. Number 5, dropping from 3. The End of Oak Street, 8.7 million. Dropping 58%. Not great. But not getting very good reviews. 85 million on an 85 million production budget. So you might say, oh, that broke even. Now, again, they only get about half of that. So what are you going to do? At 85 million, going to have to make another 85. It's highly unlikely it will get another 85. Next week, you're looking at 4.5, and whatever it made overseas. So maybe it does 9 million total. Yeah, it's not going to make it to another 85. Clint Miller, Odysee only faded by 17%. Well, we're in its let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth week. I mean, it still has legs. It's still a movie because of Christopher Nolan, I think, and because of IMAX in particular, that people still think they have to see. And there's not a lot of movies like that out. So, Jesse, you know, because of you and these movie reviews, I got more into writing. I've kind of rewritten the lore of an anime I like because I love it, but the writing is complete doo-doo caca. Whoa, don't get too technical on me. Well, first, I would say, congratulations on getting into writing. That's nice. Rewriting the lore of anime you like sounds like you're rewriting the lore of somebody else's anime. So there's nothing wrong with doing that for practice. I don't recommend you, do a fan fiction thing and start sending that out there, but it's a good practice. But if you want to be, do some serious writing, there's nothing to stop you from writing an anime in the style of the anime you like. So if you like, for instance, the only anime I really like is Cowboy Bebop. So I love Cowboy Bebop. I think it's a great show. So like, if I was a big fan of that, just starting out, and I wanted to write Cowboy Bebop, and I would kind of look at it and realize, well, the show's done, it's over, and nobody's going to hire me, I'm not Japanese. What you could do is write, a version of Cowboy Bebop, change all the characters, change all the names, change a lot of the stuff, but, definitely keep it a sci-fi, not too distant future kind of world, and bounty hunters or guys who, have a spaceship, but it's a bit ramshackle and falling apart, and, their various adventures. So that's all you really need to do. Take the anime and decide, okay, I'm going to change all the names, change the setting a little bit. You got to change it up enough, depending on what it is. Now, if you were going to do something, I don't know what the anime is, but if you were a big fan of, say, King Arthur and the Knights, and this was an anime version of that, everybody's done King Arthur and the Knights, so that's fine to do. You just have to do your own sort of version of it. Clint Miller, the end of Oak Street plot reminds me of an old Outer Limits storyline, a feasibility study. I'm not surprised because it's very much a Twilight Zone-y type story. And it just sort of starts, and some people are calling it the end of Woke Street, mainly because Anne Hathaway plays the wife, a disaffected housewife. Her husband is a kind of a drunk who loses his job, and she really wants to be a writer. So all the women are competent, all the men are incompetent. It's just 2026 writing, unfortunately. And J.J. Abrams. So, but the actual pitch itself, if you came up with a good reason why an entire neighborhood from the 80s gets transported into dinosaur times, maybe. But I find it a bit contrived myself. Outer Limits was much better at pulling that together. Jesse, nah, not fanfics. Okay, maybe a little, but it's mainly consistency issues and plot holes with a W, and trying to undo character assassinations. See, that's why you shouldn't do somebody else's anime, right? You will drive yourself crazy trying to rewrite other people's work. Believe me, I know. I've been hired to do it. I've tried to do it for, I've had students who have taken on and tried to fix their work. Just reading other people's work sometimes makes me want to push my head into the wall many, many times. So, like, I'm a big fan of James Bond. I would love to write a James Bond screenplay and get paid for it and be part of that world. But right now, the character's trapped. They're continuing to destroy him, in my view. They would never let me write Bond. Or if they did and bought my screenplay, they would make so many changes you wouldn't even recognize it. Like, I pitched a bunch of Bond stuff over the years. They wouldn't even take it. For a lot of reasons. So, yeah, you could drive yourself crazy. Here's a real easy thing. Again, just take the genre or the setting that it's in. If unless it's totally made up, then that belongs to them. Take a similar setting. Like if it's a fantasy setting, just write your own fantasy anime and just make up all the rules. Jesse, yeah, I already did go crazy, but it was sad what happened. The main character creator died, and the mid writing got worse, and the rest is history. Unfortunately, these things happen. I mean, it's sometimes I'll tell you my heartbreak story, and this was a project I helped create. I did most of the work, I would say. I had a friend who wanted to do a YouTube TV show, and he was a fellow actor and comedian, improv guy, and I thought, and he was pretty talented, and I thought, this is a great opportunity. And I had access to the equipment and a setting, so we did this zombie thing. And unfortunately, almost immediately, he kind of just got demoralized and didn't want to do it anymore. And it kind of messed everything up because the way I wrote it, we were the main characters and we both had to be in it. So that was very frustrating. Fortunately, I now have the Pineys, and in some respects, I can look back on it and say some of the things I tried out in writing the other project, I now can do in the Pineys by myself because it's a different concept, but it's got it's got some of the aspects of it. But I don't need him. So, everything you do is sort of practice for the thing you will eventually do. You have to look at it that way. Clint Miller, Amber's daughter is a budding artist. Her art reflects a strong affinity for anime and manga. Well, there you go, Jesse. Maybe you guys could get together and do a comic. Number 6 is Mutiny. This is a new Jason Statham movie where Jason Statham shoots dudes in the face. Opened at, looks like 8.9 million worldwide. After witnessing a billionaire's boss murder and being framed for the crime, Cole Reed boards a cargo ship on a one-man crusade to avenge his boss's death, only to discover an international conspiracy theory. Or, sorry, just conspiracy. I'll go see Mutiny. It's my kind of movie. If Jason Statham's going to shoot dudes in the face, I want to see what's going on. 7.7 million. He still brings in the money. Number 7, up from 18, is Tony. This is the Tony Bourdain, the Anthony Bourdain biopic. It's now up to, or it made 5 million this weekend, and it's up to 6.6 million. Clint Miller, Ghost Piney. Let's see what it's standing at. Okay, it's at 7.5 worldwide. I might see this. I don't know. It's like a lot of people. I liked Anthony Bourdain. I don't know if I want to see, the early biopic, knowing what happened to him. I don't know, but maybe I would watch it. I hear it's decent. Feels like a rental, as the kids say. Number 8, The Fast and Furious is back in theaters, and I'm still not going to see it. 3.1 million. I'm not a gearhead. I never liked The Fast and Furious, but it did very well. Some people celebrate its entire catalog. Number 9 is Spa Weekend, $3 million. This is another chick comedy starring, who is it? Ilsa Fisher is the funniest one. Anna Faris, I think? Is that Anna Faris? I gotta go to the IMDb for this. Four women. Leslie Mann, Ilsa Fisher, Michelle Boteau, whoever that is. Who's the other one? They've got all young versions of the main characters. Who's the fourth one? Anna Faris. It is Anna Faris. There it is. Okay. So it's about four friends. Clint Miller, not Tony D's biopic? Not yet. I already know what mine's going to be called. Are you ready? Are you ready? This is the name of my biopic. Con Man. See, because I go to a lot of conventions. Con Man. Get it? Or you could call it Local Piney. Jesse, Spa Weekend looks like Mamma Mia from a glance. Clint Miller, Provincetown, Mass. Strong gay culture there. Well, this would have been late 70s when Anthony Bourdain was coming up. But yeah, Spa Weekend looks like some chick flick where, they write comedy, but it's for girls. So good luck with that. Next up, it's number 10, up from 17, Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma. I sigh because they won't stop pushing this movie as some great innovation. 4.2 million. And I don't know why. I think because Gillian Anderson has a really good agent. But they're pushing this one hard. It just looks like a mess to me. I saw the trailer. I have no idea what it's meant to be about or its message. It's about some woman trying to remake a slasher franchise, and she's at the very tail end of its development. It's been through a million incarnations, and then she meets one of the stars who's played by Gillian Anderson, who I guess will be frowning her way through another movie. And just doesn't look any good. I don't know who. The title's bad. Everything about this looks bad to me. Clint Miller, Big Stein of tea, I see. That's right. Joan ratted you out. She did. She's always doing that, Joan. She's over there. Next up, The Magic Faraway Tree, 1.3 million. I think this stars, what's his face? Andrew Garfield's in this. A modern family relocates to the countryside where the children discover a magical tree with eccentric residents. They're transported to a fantastical lands, rekindling their family bond through adventures. I don't care. But, it might be good for your kids. I don't know. It looks okay. I assume it's based on a children's book. Number 12, dropping from 8, is Toy Story 5. Still made $1 million this weekend. It's been out for 66 days. So there you go. See, it's going to be interesting to see where Spiderman is in about 4 weeks. Because, that's it's going to be Spider-Man at 66 days. It's going to be crazy. Next up is Minions and Monsters, dropping from 11 to 13, 754K. Number 14, The Brink of Water, dropping from 7 in its second week, dropping 76%. Ouch. Oh, wait, sorry. Brink of War. Why did I say water? Yeah, Brink of War. Yeah, that's just Jeff Daniels playing Ronald Reagan. From Dumb and Dumber. J.K. Simmons is in it, but he just looks normal. Who's texting me? Hold on. Oh, God. Getting these texts now from book branding operations who say, "Excuse me, are you Tony DiGerolamo that does the Pineys?" And when you first get one of those texts, you're like, "Ooh, who's this? Someone's trying to track me down. Is it a Hollywood producer? Is it a journalist trying to do a news story about me? Is it, a millionaire who wants to buy 10 million copies of the Pineys?" And then you realize it's a branding agent who wants to sell you some sort of promotional package to promote your books. So in other words, it's a sales call. Anyhow, Jeff Daniels plays Ronald Reagan. I don't know why. I think this is Jeff Daniels rewriting history. Like, Jeff Daniels strikes me as the kind of guy who would have hated Ronald Reagan at the time. I mean, he's old enough. I think he's my age. he would have been old enough to remember Ronald Reagan, probably hated his guts. So now he's making a movie like, oh, he was a good guy. Uh-huh. I've said for a long time, this is exactly what they're going to do to Trump. The second Trump is out of office is when they'll rehabilitate his image. They'll be like, oh, he was a good guy. Not like the current D-bag. Not like the current Republicans. Oh, yeah, Trump, he's fine. He's great. Yeah, now that he's out of office and he can't make policy, now he's great. But, yeah. So it's Jeff Daniels, in my view, rewriting not only the history of America, but his own history. Yeah, still texting me. Number 15, Moana, dropping from 14 to 15. This movie bombed. 483K. Now we're really getting down there. 6, The Musical Live, 404K. One Night Only, the rom-com, 301K. In its second week, the rivals of Amaziah King, $287,000. Ouch. In its second week, dropping 72%. Ouch. Ouch. New one, Hotspot, 200K. It's in 268 theaters. What is Hotspot? Set in a near-future society ruled by sentient AI, a private eye investigates the murder case only to discover a rebel group capable of undermining the digital overlord. Excuse me. I don't know what this is. Hotspot. Is this a cartoon? It kind of looks like a cartoon. Let's see. No, it's live action, I guess. Wow, those names. Writer is Robert Bolesto, and the director's name, Angie Zaka. That is a name and a half. Okay. I wonder what country this is from. I'm guessing Russia, maybe? I feel like Russian names are definitely out in the stands somewhere. I don't know if I saw... Well, I think I did see a trailer for this. But I didn't review it for some reason. Probably because I didn't understand what the hell it meant. So, yeah, Hotspot. Where the hell's this movie? 200K, not doing too well for 268 theaters, but it is a foreign movie, I think. Number, 20, again, is The Invite, 198K. This is a movie Indy Phantom liked. It's supposed to be funny, even though Seth Rogen's in it. I agree with him that Ed Norton and Penelope Cruz look great in it. They're both very good actors. Olivia Wilde, I hate. And Seth Rogen, I'm off the Seth Rogen train, but I might see it for free since it got a recommendation. He said it was very funny. Maybe Seth is back on the comedy train. Next up is Your Name, 169K. Super Troopers 3 dropping from 13 to like 23, 168K. Very disappointing. Very sad, but I will still watch Super Troopers. New, Never Stop Chasing, 164K. Storm Chaser, oh god, the friggin' Storm Chaser movies. Reed Timmer and his crew pursue the world's most powerful tornadoes, confronting danger, friendship, and the personal cost of a life driven by the relentless pursuit of storms. Are those real guys or fake guys, I wonder? Next up, Cat Video Fest 2026, guys. You can go to a movie theater, 62 of them, and see cat videos on the movie screen. Jesse, Hotspot looks Polish. That is probably it. Those are Polish names. Okay. Yes, 79K for cat videos. This movie was made for 2 cents. I'm guessing. How the hell I need to meet the genius of cat. If you're one of the genius people who created Cat Video Fest 2026, 2025, etc., I gotta give you a hand. I mean, I feel like you're robbing people who have come to see the movie, but you're making money. I have to respect it. Next up is Late Fame, starring William Dafoe, 78K. Next up is The Wrong Girls. This is Kristen Stewart and Maybe from Arrested Development in its second week, dropping 82%. 76K. Who says girls can't do comedy? Well, those numbers do. Let's see. Clint Miller, didn't we all see Twister? Not only have I seen Twister, I just saw Twister like 2 nights ago. 2 nights ago, my girlfriend was watching Twister again. I was like, "Is that Twister?" She's like, "Yeah, look, there's Bill Paxton, Helen Hunt before her terrible facial surgery. Like everybody was in that movie." Cameron from Ferris Bueller was in that movie. Jesse, in my theaters, you could have technically watched the World Cup there and F1 races as well. Ooh, where are you again, Jesse? That sounds kind of cool, I guess. I would never see The Wrong Girls. It just looks bad. Literally, it's a stoner movie with girls. It could have instantly been funnier with 2 male leads. Instantly. You hired 2 stand-up comics for those roles, and they did. It was a movie with Dave Chappelle, Jim Brewer. Oh, God, what was the name of that movie? I forget now. That was a stoner comedy. You can't do it with girls. And you definitely can't do it with those 2 girls. You got to do it with female comedians, at least. At least do it with comedians. At least get... Who could you get for that movie? Oh, gosh. I don't know. Natasha Leggero is very funny, but that would be the wrong sort of movie for her. She's not really a stoner. Oh, God. There's got to be 2 female comics you could find. Jesse, Trinidad and Tobago. Movie Town is a regional theater line. Oh, okay. That's right. Now I remember. Yeah, you need at least comedians. I would have gotten 2 guys. You could have girls in it, but you can't make them the main character. Look, women are different from men. If you're going to do a female comedy, Spa Weekend, that's a female comedy. I'm not going to see it, but a lot of women will. But women don't typically like comedy. And there's very few women who are very funny, like for guys. Like back in her heyday, Christina, what's her face? Christina Applegate. Very funny. I mean, she was an Anchorman. She's awesome in that. She was on Married with Children. She's really funny. It's a shame she's laid up now with her medical issues, but very funny. But there's not that many who are funny to guys. Funny to girls, yeah, you can get any actress to be funny to girls because it's just going to be like slight embarrassment. Ilsa Fisher, though, I will say, in Spa Weekend's favor, is pretty funny. She was in Wedding Crashers, and she's very funny in that. But she was a completely different kind of funny in that. She plays that... she is like the sex-starved girlfriend of... Who's in that movie? Vince Vaughn, I think. Isn't Vince Vaughn like banging her out like every other minute? I think it's Vince Vaughn who she shacks up with. She's nuts in that movie. It's hilarious. But, it's rare. And she was married to Sacha Baron Cohen, who is also very funny. And I can't imagine she didn't learn something from him, being married to him. Now she's divorced. But it's very rare. It's so hard to find funny women. And, Spa Weekend looks like a dud. And Wrong Girls looks even worse. Number, 30, The Samurai and the Prisoner. That looks kind of cool in a classic sort of Japanese movie way. Next up is It Ends, 61K in 5 theaters. A group of recent grads head out on a late-night drive for grub, hoping to enjoy one final hangout before their paths diverge. Instead, they accidentally turn onto a never-ending 2-lane hellscape surrounded by untold horrors and cosmic forces beyond their understanding. It's actually looks kind of freaky, this movie. It's like another Twilight Zone episode, basically. They basically get on a road and they can't get off of it, and it's just going on and on forever. I think it's supposed to be hell. That's usually what it is at the end. But I might see a movie like that. After that, American Doctor. I never heard of this movie. In its second week, dropping 22%, but it only made $32K. American Doctor is a verite nonfiction film. Okay. Following 3 prominent physicians, Palestinian, Jewish, Zoroastrian, friends. Okay, this is all about Gaza. Now I remember this movie. That was from last week. Clint Miller. Yeah, Vince Vaughn in Wedding Crashers. Thank you. After that is Learning to Fly. What is this? Aisha McAdams, a former competitive runner turned photographer, embarks on a journey to document the triumphs and struggles of famed ultra trail runners, including Jim Walmsley and Esther Ksalig. Traveling to mythical races, the Western States Endurance Run in the mountains of Eastern California, the Ultra Trail du Mont Blanc in the French Alps, the film marvels at athletes who maintain their intensity as they run 100 miles of mountain trails while climbing thousands of vertical feet. Not my kind of movie, but I could see a tiny audience for it. Evil Dead Burn, still in theaters, 28K. Mary Oliver, Saved by the Beauty of the World, 27K. Union County, in its second week, dropping 70%, 20K. That is no bueno. Train to Busan, back in theaters, made 38K. Highly recommend if you haven't seen it. It's a really good Korean zombie movie. Cookie Queens, 13K. The Marching Band, 12K in one theater. Phobot is an internationally renowned conductor who travels the world. When he learns that he has been adopted, he discovers the existence of a brother, Jimmy, a school canteen employee who plays the trombone in a marching band in the north of France. On the surface, everything separates them except their love of music. Detecting his brother's exceptional musical abilities, Thibaut makes it his mission to repair the injustice of fate. Jimmy then begins to dream of another life. Sounds very French. I might see something like that. Next up, Elijah Peel, 7K. In its second week, dropping 97%. Jesus. Oh, but it's only in 50 theaters. Holy cow, that's a big drop, though. That's still a big drop, any way you slice it. Next up, Manhunter Final Cut, back in theaters, 66.4K. New, How to Divorce During the War. What is this? 6,300. Vilnius 2022. High-flying executive Marija chooses the worst possible moment to inform her husband, Vitas, she wants a divorce, just one day before Russia's invasion of the Ukraine. Suddenly, the couple must navigate the process of separation as it collides with a refugee and midlife crisis. A struggling film director, Vitas, is put to it in a tight spot by having to move in with his Russophile parents, while Marija struggles to find her footing as the war affects both her business and home life. As the reason for divorce gradually becomes clear, the disillusion of Marija's and Vitas' marriage creates conflicts and opportunities for both of them, while also affecting their ever-observant young daughter, Dovile. Okay. That sounds like it could be funny. But, you know, independent foreign movie funny, not like American funny. You know what I'm saying? I could watch that. Motor City, that's that Alan Ritchson movie. $4,000. Suck it, Alan Richland. Sherman's March, back in theaters, $3,800. I Want Your Sex, which looked terrible, $3,100. Billy Liar, $2,500, back in theaters. Maddie's Secret. How does this movie keep staying out? $2,200. Like, I don't even know why they keep them in the movies at this point. The Last Picture Shows, $2,200. Ironically, about movie theaters and how they're dying. Romeria, $1,700. The Hole, $1,200. Remake, $1,100. Rose of Nevada, still in one theater, $732. The Devil Queen, $714. The Piano, $698. Gail Daughtry and the Celebrity Sex Pass, $613. Continental, $25, $350. Blue Heron, $75. Again, these movies are back in theaters, or they've been in them forever. The total is $129,421,121 dollarinos. And most of that, of course, is Spider-Man. Spider-Man not only saved New York and saved the world, but he's also single-handedly saving the movie industry. It's a shame, though, that Disney and Spider-Man, or Disney and Sony, have Spider-Man trapped. I wish neither company owned him. I would like to see him go into the public domain, and eventually he will. Maybe like 40 years from now. And by that time, nobody will remember Spider-Man, I'm sure. Or they'll be talking about Miles Morales. But, so yeah, not a great weekend for movies. But it's the end of the summer. Everybody's trying to, at least down here, everybody's trying to get in another weekend at the boards and down the Jersey Shore. They don't want to see no damn movies. Nah. And look, with all the mild weather we've been having here, no one's going to go see movies for another month or so. It's not even, it's just starting to cool off, but it's not really going to cool off until October. So, all right, let's move on and check out the trades. Let's check out Fandom Pulse. Lanterns Episode 2 review. HBO can't resist the shock value even when the mystery works. So if you haven't been following the Lanterns fiasco, they started this show called Lanterns. Clint Miller, how much of the movie revenues are sucked up by the theaters? When are you losing money by showing your film? Well, it's a 50-50 split. So, you know, I think the theaters, going back, let's say, when you're talking about a movie that shows Blue Heron for $75, you know, half that's got to go to the movies. So you're losing $32.50. So, yeah, I got to think that it probably costs more than $32.50 just to run the movie and pay a guy to run it. Same thing even with Continental 25 at $350. $175 is going to go to the movie. You're left with $175. That might be just enough to cover the expenses of the guy running the movie and you know, the electricity and the lights or whatever. See, because you're also going to sell popcorn and whatnot, and that's where they make their real money. So the theaters make money showing movies, but they make their real money. So like last time I went to the theaters, it was just me and the girlfriend, and I spent a total of $64 at the movies because I bought us a bunch of food because I was feeling magnanimous and I wanted to impress my date. And so we ate a bunch of crap that neither one of us really wanted, probably. And we had drinks and stuff. We ended up throwing half of it out, as you always do. So they only made, let's see, the movie tickets were what? I think they were like $12 each. So they made $6 each. So they made $12 on the tickets. But the rest of it, I spent like $34 on the food, and they probably made like 20, right? Something like that. I don't know. It depends on the food. They definitely made the money on, you get a soda or any kind of beverage at the movie theater. They make out like bandits. I mean, I got a bottle of water because they never have any like unsweetened iced tea, which is all I ever drink. And, she got like a Diet Coke. So between those two drinks, probably cost almost $10, and they probably made $9 on that. So they, and that was almost what we paid to come in, the profit they made on us just walking in there. And then we got some popcorn, and I had no dinner, so it foolishly got hot dogs. So now the movie makers, they're not looking at the revenue from one day. They're going to look at the revenue for a month. So if the last day you only make $32, kind of doesn't matter. You're not paying the electricity. All you did was cut the deal to show, have them show the movie. So that's just, more money that goes into the hole or the pile, depending on what kind of movie you've just made. And now, like, it used to be that making a print, and you had to make a print of the movie, and that actually shipped the physical print to a theater. That was pretty costly because the print itself cost thousands of dollars, and then you had to mail it, and that cost probably a few $100 because you had to have it insured, and it probably had to be delivered on a truck, not like a regular post office thing. But now they don't do that anymore. Now you're just distributed, meaning that AMC theaters or any of the big chains have now a network. And it's a computer network where they either download the movie from their network and show it in the theaters, or they get a flash drive mailed to them. And a flash drive's a lot smaller, or they download the movie and then show it. So either way you cut it, that saves a lot of money, right? Because, you just have an internet connection. That costs money, but it's not a lot. You probably have an upgraded one for your theater because you need one because you're downloading so much information. And then, the computer is a cost, but you're using the computer to show the movie, essentially. So there's no more prints anymore. And so that doesn't cost a lot. The cost is all in the negotiation, and, they're going to want, the theater owners are not just going to want a copy of the movie. They're going to want movie posters. They're going to want to know that you advertise the damn thing, and, that there's some good reviews and blah, blah, blah. So you got to put in some work, but not a lot of work. And if you're a big company or a big studio, every studio used to have an outlet locally in every market to dole out all that stuff. So, for instance, in Philadelphia, there was a person, say, for Warner Brothers, and their job was to, when a new movie came out from Warner Brothers, they had to coordinate the local promotions. So they had free tickets to premieres, and they had to make sure all the local critics got one, or anybody who could give the movie some air, right? Anybody who could write a nice article about the movie, you'd want them to come to the premiere, and you'd give them a bunch of swag, like a t-shirt and some keychains and all that BS. And these people, who love movies, unfortunately, they're easily bought. And so, if you really wanted to grease the palm, you wouldn't just invite them to the premiere. They would be brought in. They'd be given a bunch of food and drinks, and maybe they'd go into a special room where you'd have a videotape set up, and it would have a little primer for the movie, and it would have one of the stars of the movie says, I used to go to Philadelphia High School, and I'm really excited that my movie is appearing there. Or maybe you'd even have the celebrity himself there, like shaking hands with all the people. And all that would instantly make the critics, oh, well, I gotta say something nice about this. They'd feel obligated because they came out, they got all this free food, they met a celebrity, and it just gets, and they want to do it again. So this is how the studios buy all the critics. They just treat them to a party. Now they might spend not enough money and then piss them off, but usually they can be bought for a song. And in their defense, if somebody brings you out, sends a limo, or gives you a bunch of food and gives you a bag of swag, you kind of feel like, well, I really hated the movie, but I'm not going to go too hard on these guys because, they gave me all this cool free stuff. But they shouldn't. That's not their job. Their job is not to weigh the movie against all the free goodies they got. But this is what studios do. They used to fly people out. They would take, a critic or a feature writer from every major market and fly them out to Los Angeles to be on the set of Batman or whatever. And, they give them a hotel room and let them meet the stars, let them interview them, let them do this, let them do that. And then they go home happy as clams, full of swag, full of autographs. So that was the bribe, essentially. And I call it a bribe. It's not technically a bribe, but I think it's a bit of a bribe. They would write nice things. And that's what people, most normies, and most people are normie, they if you treat them really nice, you say nice things to them, they're going to go along with the program. They just will. Unless you piss them off in some way, they're just going to be like, oh, I had such a great time. Thanks for having me out. And we'd be like, oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming out and see our movie. We really appreciate it. I feel like we bonded. We bonded when you were at the Q&A and you were talking to Tony and he was talking about the Pineys. Oh, yeah. Thanks for coming out. Thanks so much. And then, they're putty in your hands. Then they go home and they write a glowing recommendation. Oh, the movie transcends movies. The movie is the greatest thing I've ever seen. That's why all these critics love everything. Because once they... So imagine you bring a guy out and he eats your food and you give him a hotel room and he meets the stars and he sees the movie for free. And then he gets home and he says, this movie was a piece of crap. Everyone on it should be drummed out of show business, and the lead actor who I interviewed is an idiot. Would you ever invite him back? No. You'd be like, screw that guy. And in fact, let me call the paper up and tell him that I'm thinking of pulling all my ads from that paper because of the terrible review you just gave me. Then the paper would come down on that guy. So what the hell? We sent you all the way out to LA to write about this thing. You're not supposed to write something that negative. That's what happens. That's the real deal. That's what happens. I know because I met people in that business. You could buy them for a song. Give them a free comic book and a corn dog. I'm going to write a great review of your movie. It's when they've been in the business for years and years and years, they finally get so jaded, like, oh, you only gave me one corn dog and one free comic? You mean I didn't get to, they have to be careful not to give them too much stuff because then they become expectant. Anywho, let me rant about Lanterns. So, Lanterns was everything I expected. Now, I didn't see it. I don't want to see it. I wouldn't waste a second of my time watching Lanterns, even just to trash it, because a man named Damon Lindelof worked on it. Damon Lindelof worked on Lost. What's the other show? I think it's called The Others. He worked on the terrible Watchmen show. I don't want to see his crap. I watched Lost already. Lost sucks. Lost was like a mystery box and a mystery box and another mystery box. And oh, by the way, here's one more mystery box. And the show ended. Oh, what about all the mystery boxes? Oh, yeah, we don't know. Bye. We got your money. That's He's one of the worst, in my opinion. J.J. Abrams is another guy. Although I will say for J.J., I liked the first remake of Star Trek. I thought it was fine. I mean, you could have gone in a different direction after that first movie and really done some new stuff. He didn't, but what are you going to do? But Damon Lindelof, I call him the Antichrist of screenwriters. So everything he touches turns to S, in my opinion. It didn't surprise me one iota that he was the guy who said, oh yeah, we were talking about Green Lanterns. We thought, green's stupid. We'll just drop it and call it Lanterns. Which is just dumb. The only reason you would do that is the comic book did eventually reveal, like, well, there's Green Lanterns and Yellow Lanterns and Blue Lanterns and Red Lanterns and blah, blah, blah. So, if you were going to call it Lanterns, and you were going to give a reason for it, the reason should have been, well, we're going to introduce the other lanterns. Not, oh, we thought that was stupid. Hey, comic book guys, you hear this? You want me to turn it up? So that's the attitude, I think, of a guy like Lindelof. I think he writes, and guys like him are showrunners and writers strictly to make money. And I mean strictly. So if the studio says, hey, why don't you do something more like Taylor Sheridan? That's pretty popular, that Yellowstone show. He'd go right back in the room and be like, okay, yeah, we got to set this in the Midwest and got to put cowboys in it, which I think is exactly what these guys did. Here they're handed a space show, and the main characters are going to be solving mysteries in the Southwest or Midwest or whatever. It's just the dumbest thing ever. And then Hal Jordan, the most popular Green Lantern in the comic, is immediately killed off in the first episode. Utterly insane. Utterly insane and stupid. They make him a jerk. So, a lot of people are praising the actors. Again, I wouldn't go that far. Personally, it's just like, sure, they're not responsible for the writing. They're just going along with it. But they do have some influence. If a actor wants a part and then, sees it and goes, hey, maybe I could do this or that, usually they can turn the truck around if they have any kind of name. Now, these two guys probably don't have much of a name. They probably didn't have that power. They would probably just be happy to be there. But guys, read the writing on the wall. The moment the internet explodes and says, oh my God, this is my beloved Green Lantern Corps, what have they done to you? That's a real problem in comics. And I've explained this many times before. There's the alpha fan, the comic book guy in your circle of friends who follows all the comic stuff. And when something like this comes out, you consult him. Hey, is that Lantern show any good? And then, 90% of them are going to say, oh God, no, don't go see that. And then you're cooked, man. The alpha fan will ruin it for all the other fans. He'll tell them the truth. He'll say, this show's going to suck. I'm the alpha fan in my circle. If anybody had asked me about Lanterns, I would have said, oh God, don't watch that show. It's going to be a disaster. And then the show apparently lived up to every expectation by killing off Hal Jordan, spoilers, in the first episode. And it's also a bunch of nonsense, what it sounds like to me. It sounds a lot like the Watchmen show. Just jumps around different time periods for no reason. Yeah, I do that in the Pineys, but I got reasons to do it. I got total reasons to do it. And another major problem with a lot of this stuff has been, TV shows used to be like The Fugitive. You do one episode, it's a whole story, and then it's basically done and you're back to the status quo for the next story. So, in the case of The Fugitive, after the initial pilot, he's on the run for a murder he didn't commit, and he's a doctor. So, he would go into a town, usually working as a hired hand somewhere, and then something would happen, and he would help out the people of the town. Right? He would help them out, trying not to betray he was a medical doctor or super smart, which he was. And eventually they would sort of figure out, hey, you're not just a lumberjack. And then towards the end of the episode, he would have to worry about the cops figuring out who he was, because usually there was some nefarious plot going on that he had to fix, and he'd fix it. And just before the end of the episode, he might be exposed, at least partially, and then the people he helped would help him get out of town ahead of the FBI guy who was looking for him, or the reporter, I forget. No, in the Hulk, it was a reporter. In the Fugitive, I think it was an FBI guy. And then he would get out of town, and then the whole thing would start up again next week. So it would be a beginning, middle, and end. New shows like Lanterns, they don't have a beginning, middle, and end. They have, okay, here's the first episode. Here's a mystery box. Here's another mystery box. Here's another mystery box. Oh, tune in next week for all the mystery box. We're going to tell you something. Next week, you tune in. More mystery box. Another mystery box. More mystery box. You're like, wait a minute. What happened to all the other mystery? I thought it was this, but now it's this. And they just keep doing that to you until the season's over, and they have a big finale where they give you no closure, and they just keep stacking the mystery. Because the idea is not to ever give you closure, it's just to keep you watching. And they'll exhaust you until you finally throw up your hands and go, well, the show's never going to tell me anything, so I'm out. And for most people, for most normies, they just kind of want some noise. I know I was that way. I come home. That's how I watched the entire run of 2.5 Men. I just wanted something on while I was eating dinner. So 2.5 Men happened to be on when I had dinner, the reruns. And I'd watch 2 episodes, and then I'd go do what I do. And, I did it for like 3 years. I ran through the entire run of the show like 5 times. Some ridiculous amount, because it was on twice a night. And so that's what TV is, or what it's become. But at least with 2.5 Men, I got a whole story. With Lanterns and Lost, Damon Lindelof, he's just not going to give you closure. That's not the object of the game. If it was up to him, Lanterns would stay on the air until he died. And it would just keep giving him money. So that's all it's for. In my opinion, that's what these guys do. It's just a constant tease and no finish. No happy ending for you. Horror Writers Association election collapses as lone candidate steps down. That's not really much of an election. But okay. There was a Horror Writers Association of New Jersey. I never joined it, but I knew some of the people in it. That got a little political from what I could tell. Deadpool and Wolverine copyright continuity as a metaphysical necessity. So there's a part of Deadpool and Wolverine that keeps replaying. Let me get that. There is it. Keeps replaying in my head, and it's likely not for the reasons the movie writers want. Excuse me. Deadpool and... I don't know why I keep doing... Oh, I had Chinese food. That's why. Deadpool and Wolverine are in mid-brawl in the void when a cloaked figure interrupts them, warning that Cassandra Nova's scavengers are already closing in. The figure lands, throws back his hood, and reveals Chris Evans, who Deadpool and the audience immediately registers as Captain America. However, Evans later shouts, "Flame on," ignites, and the misdirection collapses. It's Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. His role is played for a gag as he launches skyward, full in flame, only to have his powers drained from him mid-flight by the mutant Pyro. Then Johnny plummets, clips a structure and with his crotch on the way down, and smashes into the ground in pure slapstick. Not much later, the movie's villain, Cassandra Nova, unmakes him with a thought. She kills him with telekinesis, peeling every inch of his skin from Johnny's body in one instantaneous motion. What's left collapses into a wet heap of muscle organs and bones in a spreading pool of blood. He's just enough time for a final shock blink before his body falls apart. Whether it's slapstick, fall, or being stripped of its flesh by the villain, both events are registered as true inside the movie's logic. The first is true because the movie has already declared that physical consequence is optional when the joke requires it. The second is true because the movie needs a demonstration of the villain's power. However, neither moment is about Johnny Storm as a character with history, body, or stakes. Instead, both are about the audience's prior investment in the Human Torch as a piece of recognizable intellectual property. Yeah, that's true. But it is a comedy, so you're allowed to do this kind of stuff. So, Billy Piper tells Doctor Who fans to chill out as the show faces up to 5 years off the air. Good. Make it 50. Because until the BBC, which is run by the government of the UK, gets a new government, you're not going to have good episodes of Doctor Who anyway. Spider-Man 2, when superhero movies were made with love. Aww. That was a good one. I did like Spider-Man 2. Variety. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days sequel? Yeah, I don't want to see that. But you go right ahead. Paramount. Kate Hudson attached to produce. Okay. Whatever. Kit Harington joins Harry Potter Season 2 as Gilderoy Lockhart, replacing Nicholas Hoult. Okay. California AG cancels Paramount settlement talks over $111 billion Warner Brothers Discovery deal. Says he'll meet when they stop playing games, I'm going to say. Yeah. Jesse, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Seconds is the story of my life. LOL. Ha ha. Well, you just got to keep putting yourself out there, as they say. Plenty of fish in the sea. It's a numbers game. It truly is. But getting back to the AG in California, this is, again, a political game that the AG is playing. He has no business being involved in this. The federal government oversees stuff like this. If they considered this a monopoly, then it would be up to the federal government to sue them. California shouldn't be doing this. California is acting like its own country. Jesse, I'm short, so I'm S out of luck. That's not true. That's not true. Here, look. You just need, number one, you need confidence. If you have confidence, you can beat just about anything. Trust me on this. Be 100% confident in everything you do. Girls like to see nice shoes, nice clothes, nice hair, and smell nice. And if you have confidence and know exactly what you want to do, you have to say to yourself every moment of every day, I'm going to do exactly and what I want to do, and this is how, this is what I want to do. And you just do it. And it'll work. But you're talking about losing a guy. So if you're going for a guy, well, that's something else. That's something else. Jesse. Is Jesse a guy? I don't know if Jesse is a guy or a girl. Let's see. Can't tell. Can't tell from your thumbnail. It's hard to see. Yeah, the Paramount settlement should be over. I hope David Ellison takes Paramount and Warner Brothers right the F out of Hollywood. I hope those spaces become real estate, and I'm sure, it'll give a good opportunity. Jesse, yeah, that's true. Sadly, it's not really pretty ones who like me. They're nice people, but not really attractive. I'm losing a guy in 10 seconds was a joke about being me being short. Oh, okay. I'm a dude. All right. Yeah, you just gotta be totally confident. I'm telling you. See, pretty women, one of their biggest complaints, and take this for what it's worth, is they say, no guys ever approach me, which is true and it's not true. What they're really saying is, no guys I like approach me. But there are women who are just, they're all about height differences. Just don't date them. I mean, they won't date you, so just ignore them. But there are plenty of women who don't care about that at all. And just be super confident. And believe me, if you have $1 billion, height suddenly doesn't matter. So, but if you act like $1 billion, height doesn't matter either. And I don't mean acting like you have $1 billion. I mean just act like it's going to happen. But yeah, I hope David Ellison pulls completely out of California, and I'd like to see Warner Brothers lot and the Paramount lot abandoned. And then let the idiots who run the state into the ground figure out what to do with all that land. I bet they'll build a bunch of stupid high-rises and gated communities there that will be graffitied and full of gangs in no time. The state of California is the prime example, New Jersey being third in this, of the state just completely out of control. It's California, New York, and then New Jersey. The only thing that saves New Jersey is we do have a bit of a reputation for bucking the system every once in a while as a blue state. Every once in a while we just say, no, it should have been this time. We should have gotten a red governor this time around. We didn't. That just means when it finally happens, it's going to be a hell of a lot worse. I'm pretty sure they cheated in the last election, but I have no evidence of that. But California is just the absolute epitome of here's the latest stupid tax thing we're going to do to drive people out of business. Even while they simultaneously say, oh, we'll help the movie industry with tax subsidies and this and that. It's really code for, well, donate to my campaign and we'll see about getting you some money back. So these AGs are useless. California's awash in crime and people leaving the state left and right. It should be a paradise. It was for a time. It was like everybody wanted to move to California at one time. The weather was beautiful. The movie industry was thriving. Now it's an S-hole. Los Angeles, I mean, when I moved there, it was kind of an S-hole, but there's still, some nice things. Now, I mean, I don't even want to go there. It just looks like, last time I was there was 2008, I think. It was no bueno. So he shouldn't be doing this. He's not the president. He has no jurisdiction over this other than statewide. And then, Ellison could just move the entire business out of the state, and then it'll be FU to California. I really hope he does. I really would love to see that. I would love to see the collapse of Hollywood and the movie industry out in California. Maybe Disney will buy up all the lots and lose a lot of money. I'd like to see Disney move out of the state, too. I bet they will. Disney's pretty ruthless when it comes to money. So, Reggie Watts' theme song acts from Comedy Bang Bang podcast after a report alleging reckless drug use in relationships. What does that have to do with the song? Does anybody really care about that? That's weird, isn't it? Oh, it looks like the guy who wrote the theme song for Taxi did something wrong. You have to get rid of that. Like, who cares? I wouldn't even have known it if you didn't tell me. Very strange. New York's AMC Kips Bay movie theater to close at the end of 2026. Oh, but don't worry, movies are fine. Paramount says it did not leak discussions with California AG to press. So what if they did? It's not like it's two countries negotiating. The Gentleman renewed for season 3. I gotta watch The Gentleman. I also want to watch Mobland. They're both done by Guy Ritchie, who I like a lot. Black Mirror season 8 starts production as Netflix renews Being Gordon Ramsay and Legends. Rosie O'Donnell should host her own late night show. Oh, please make it happen, because that won't be a total waste of money. Yeah, go ahead, ABC. Launch her show. Put Rosie back on the air. I'm sure it won't be a partisan hour of nonsense. Imagine you travel back in time to the 80s and pitch to studio executives, hey, would you like a fat old woman to host a late night talk show? They'd be like, what? Are you high? Let's see. Wendy Williams documentary series Clap If You Care from host, longtime TV producer, picked up at Peacock. I still don't know the deal with Wendy Williams. Every once in a while I see an article and she's either fighting conservatorship or being pushed around like in a wheelchair, or being escorted like she's in trouble. Like, I thought she had some sort of medical condition and she was coming unglued, and that's why she had to retire. And then suddenly it was like, oh no, I'm fine, let me live my own life. And I still don't know what's going on. Is it all just fake to get clicks? Azerbaijan's lawyer defends defamation suit against CNN. These untrue statements actually put lives at risk. That was my Azerbaijan accent. I don't know what they sound like, but I just made that up. Meanwhile, Hacks, that TV show, I'm sure you've heard of it, shatters Emmy record for most nominations for a comedy in history. I watched the trailer. I think I watched the first half of an episode. I didn't laugh once. Like, I didn't even know it was a comedy. I thought it was a drama about comedy writers. And I'm watching it going, what is this? And then I got bored and turned it off. And then later, it was like, oh, the comedy Hacks is back. And I'm like, comedy? That's how little comedy was in it. Again, it's all women, 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 women. I'm sure that has nothing to do with it, though. Insidious out of the Further director Jacob Chase to helm horror movie Sleepover from Blumhouse, Atomic Monster, and Universal. All right. All right, moving on to Bounding in the Comics. More on, oops, and I closed the window. What did I do? Hal Jordan's Grim Fate and HBO's Lanterns confirmed, but that's not all. Yep. DC Studios deletes Supergirl video after fans spot Lobo art. I guess they used some AI art for something. To which I say, who cares? I mean, like, barely anybody noticed. Look, I just went to an event not too long ago. I won't say which one. And almost every vendor there had AI art hanging up all over the place. And I was like, that's a lot of AI art. And they were selling prints of it, too. And I was like, yeah, I'm not buying any of that. I just don't know why anybody would waste their money on AI art. You know, at this point, you could just make it yourself then, you know? I mean, literally, like, I had a friend, he was a top-notch artist, and he'd just sell that stuff, but he made it. Clint Miller, don't give up or give in, Jesse. I'm almost 70, and I hooked up with a 30-something mother of two. Tony has met all of us. Yes, I have. They're very nice. Yeah, I mean, the thing to do, Jesse, is just put yourself out there. You know, be yourself and be confident. I cannot stress that enough. Don't apologize for anything. As they say, never explain, never apologize. And I don't mean like, you know, you bump into somebody, you don't apologize. I mean, don't apologize for who you are. One of the things that disarms people is, you know, like I played Dungeons and Dragons for many, many years. And sometimes somebody would go, oh my God, you played Dungeons and Dragons? And I just go, yeah. And that completely disarms them. They'd go, oh, okay. See, if I had gone, well, yeah, I play Dungeons and Dragons, they'd be like, ha. But since I went, yeah, they'd go, oh, well, oh, okay. I guess you do that. Um, because that's what they want. You know, they want you to be embarrassed. So if some girl says to you, well, you're kind of short, aren't you? And you just go, yeah, do you want to go to dinner or what? I just saw a video not too long ago. I don't know if you saw this one. It kind of went viral on X. It was some kind of Tinder meetup. And for some reason, it was all recorded. Now, I don't know if this was fake, like they set it up. But this really tall girl showed up at this dude's apartment, and he was pretty short. You know, he wasn't super short, but he was short enough. He wore lifts because he was like worried that girls wouldn't take him seriously because he was kind of a short guy. And she was like a full head taller. Like, she was tall. She was probably taller than me. And at first, his reaction was like, "Oh no." And then she got embarrassed and started to leave. And then he called her back and said, I don't know why didn't you tell me how tall you were? And like, eventually they got to talking. And eventually at the end, he said, well, you don't care that I'm short? She goes, no. Do you care that I'm tall? He's like, no. And then they went out. So that's really what it's about. Clint Miller had a girlfriend in the 80s who played D&D. Yeah. Let's see. GTA 6 leaker, that's for the new Rockstar game, threatens Rockstar's digital future, saying he will not stop until Rockstar issues a statement. He apparently has the whole game downloaded somehow. I don't know how you do that as a hacker. He must have a computer way beyond anything I've ever owned. That's crazy. I mean, think about that. Think about an entire game. Like, I have GTA 5. That would, like, fill my computer. So he's downloaded the whole thing somehow. And he's threatened to leak it online. So I don't know what that means, though, because wouldn't it take hours to download the damn thing? I guess you could on those dark web places. And now I don't know what he's trying to prove, the hacker. Nicholas Hoult, cast as Lockhart in HBO's Harry Potter, is DCU's Lex exiting. I don't know. Hopefully James Gunn is exiting. I'm really sick of James Gunn. Clint Miller stopped by a tea shop that hosts a monthly TTRPG, tabletop role-playing game, for boomers like me. Neat. All right, moving on to Hollywood Reporter. More on that. Peacock greenlights 3-part Wendy Williams Show documentary. Trump trade war with Canada puts film, TV spending rules in crosshairs. Well, look, before you get all up on Trump's business over the latest trade war, understand Canadian government subsidizes TV and film there heavily. So their system is this, and it's totally protectionist. You have to get tax breaks, because I put together a deal with my friend, and we were trying to get money for a movie, and we were going to shoot it in Canada. And the reason we were going to shoot it in Canada is because the Canadian government will match you dollar for dollar on certain things for a tax break. So we figured out if we got enough Canadians working on our film, we could get back over 50% of the budget. And that was part of our pitch. So we were going to pitch this to a big company in Canada, and the idea would be he would give us something like $10 million so we could shoot the movie, but we would get $7 million back in government subsidies and tax breaks. So essentially the movie would cost us $3 million, and then we'd be making money, assuming people saw it. And so it didn't work out. I mean, it's hard to raise money. It's hard to get people to give you millions of dollars, but that's a huge incentive. Like, if I told you, give me $100 for this investment, and I'll guarantee you at least 70 of that back, and you thought I had even a shot at making you money, then you might do it. Right? I mean, because you're really only risking $30 to make $100, which is a pretty good deal. So then you multiply that by, another $1,000, and you get what we were trying to do, or 10,000. So if you are worth, I don't know, $400 million, and you throw a guy $10 million, and you're guaranteed to get back $7 million. In the movie industry, that's not a bad bet. It's always a risk in the movie industry. I mean, it's perfectly feasible to spend $10 million on a movie and make almost nothing. I mean, it is a risk. I'm not saying it's not. But getting back 7 out of 10 of your dollars right out the gate, that's pretty good. Hold on, I got to turn this fan off. I'm starting to get a little chilly. There we go. So this is part of the way other governments subsidize their industries. They just give them money. The government gives them money. We don't do that in the United States. I'd throw a fit if we gave Hollywood money to make movies. There's plans on the books for that. People are lobbying for it. Now, we give them tax breaks. That I don't mind nearly as much. Excuse me. Sorry, the Chinese food's killing me. Tax breaks are different because, no one's for taxes. Like, if you pay taxes, you understand, like, would you be against, if somebody, you'd feel weird if somebody said, I'm against tax breaks for you. So, like, what do you care if, a studio gets a tax break? I don't care about that. Canada actually gave people money back for hiring Canadians. So, the United States, we can do that. We can do that all day long. And in fact, it'll be a lot more money because we pay so much in taxes. And California could be doing the same thing, but they're so broke because they spend their money so poorly and they spend so much of it, they probably can't even afford to do it at this point unless they cut these programs. So when you're talking about Trump's trade war versus Canada, Canada heavily tariffs things that we send over there so their businesses are competitive. And so if you're saying we can't do that, what the hell is wrong with you? If they're going to do it to us, why can't we do it to them? If it's good for them, why isn't it good for us? It's as simple as that. Let's see. Disney tightens spousal health benefits as industry costs surge. All right. James Liu, stuntman and Hot Shots Part 2 actor, dies at 73. Oh, no. Oh, man. He collaborated with John Carpenter in 3 films and did 3 Rush Hour movies in a half-century in show business. R.I.P. YouTube changes how it counts views, but not what actually counts. Yeah, I'm very confused about the new changes on YouTube. I am seemingly getting more views, but now the upvotes kind of don't matter. I kind of can't see my upvotes anymore. I don't know why they would change that. And I don't know why they would care. Like, who cares about the upvotes? I get it. Some people care and they're like, oh, this got 4 upvotes, I'll watch it, or whatever, 400 or 4 million or whatever. But ultimately, even if you get ratioed, who cares? If you watch the video, you watch the video. I don't know what YouTube's doing. YouTube's like, they made this great site and then they spent the rest of their tenure trying to ruin it slowly, it seems. Buzzkill, horror comedy starring Sienna Ogden and Breck Basinger, sets fall release. Jesse. Oh, sorry, Clint. I was reading some Discord messages. I haven't given up. I just don't throw myself out there much, being a bit more picky myself. Plenty of fish in the sea, but most of them are sardines. Ha! Let's see this Buzzkill movie. Whoa, what? Horror comedy. What is... Alright, just give me the... Alright, it's a Tubi movie? Okay. I might see a Tubi movie because they're free. Will debut on Tubi September 25th. Okay. It's a YA horror comedy movie. Buzzkill centers on a group of sorority sisters who end up trapped with a murderer. Nora's tipsy memories hold the clues to figuring out who's killing their friends, but she can only remember them when she's drunk. Okay. Sounds fun. Garrard helmed the movie from a script by Suzanne Kelly. Slumber Party Massacre. Okay. So no men. All right, maybe she's a good comedy writer. I don't know. It is sorority sisters, so. Spider-Man Brand New Day box office set to sink Titanic from all-time top 5. Okay, so we have the listing of top 5 movies. Cameron's 2009 smash Avatar sits atop the all-time 5 with 2.9 million all-time gross. Avengers Endgame, 2.79 billion. And Endgame is set to re-release September 25th, which will narrow the gap between Endgame and Avatar. In third is Cameron's 2022 sequel to Avatar, Way of the Water, 2.33 billion. So that's the one Spider-Man has to beat to get number 3. That's the one it could beat, I think. Fourth is 2025 animated fantasy adventure Niza 2 with 2.27 billion. That one's toast. That one is absolutely toast. And Titanic is the next one it's going to beat. So, what was Titanic? Brand New Day is only 50 million behind Niza. And it's very likely to jump from number 6 to number 4. It's only a hair behind Endgame. Yep. So, I don't know what... I don't think it says... Did I miss it? It doesn't say what Titanic was, but you can look it up, I guess. Yeah, so it's going to end at number 3. It's not going to reach Avengers at 2.79 billion. It just can't. I don't think it could reach that. And then maybe with a re-release, it'd get close, but... let's see... Saoirse Ronan is dead serious about playing a James Bond villain. Ooh, more women in movies. Yeah, it's great. Can't wait till they get the girl who's going to play the new Jamie Bond. Teletubbies owner Wildbrain buys AI firm for $11 million. Okay, so the Teletubbies are going AI, everybody, I guess. Hayden Panettiere's mom denies "you owe me" claim when she went downhill after Heroes. Okay. Sad she died. At Bleeding Fool, Robert J. Kuntz reveals untold origins of D&D. Oh, by the way, that I donated to the Gary Gygax Fund. They're making a memorial to him where it's like this park and this stone table with the map of Greyhawk engraved in it. And the idea is you'll be able to sit at a table with a statue of Gary and play D&D there, which I think is kind of cool. Jesse, the Teletubbies are still around? The heck? Exactly. Universal builds time travel movie with Project Hail Mary team. Ooh, I love time travel. I can't wait. 50 years of Judge Dredd, a 50th anniversary celebration. That should be interesting. Marvel's X-Men decline has been going on for years. It certainly has. I got in the tail end of Claremont's run, 80s run on the X-Men, and I denied it for a while because I'm sort of a contrary person. That's the way I always was. But then I got in on it in the 80s and very tail end, and I was like, ooh, this is good. And I started reading it. And it was great. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Deadline. Saudi Arabia to invest $7 billion in 3 theme parks near Paris. Wow, that'll be great for all the immigrants that are coming there. Like, what's the theme going to be? Let's go to Jihad World. Like, what the hell are they doing to France? France is completely overrun, from what I've read, with a lot of immigrants, and there doesn't seem to be anything stopping them from coming. Why are they going to build more theme parks? Is that a thing in the countries they came from? I don't think so. Are there a lot of theme parks in Saudi Arabia? Can anybody other than sheiks afford them? Jesse, I don't trust that about Paris. Well, the Saudis, I mean, $7 billion, they could sort of just peel that out of their wallet. So I believe they have the money. I mean, it seems weird, though, they build that many parks in Paris. I don't even think Parisians like amusement parks. Didn't they make fun of Disney when they built the Disney theme park there? More of the same. BBC files new motion to dismiss Donald Trump's $10 billion lawsuit, challenges claims of U.S. viewership via VPN. That's interesting. I thought that was done, but I guess not. Jimmy Kimmel fears late night retirement. Oh, I don't. Oh, please retire, Jimmy. Please just retire. Just go away. Just take your money and run. Jesse, I would like to visit France, Lyon mainly because of a football team I like, as well as L'Orient. I'll always love the cute French girl maid. So cute. I would want to see, there's a town in France that Joan of Arc is from. You know, not my Joan of Arc, but the original Joan of Arc. And the king, after her, sometime after her great sacrifice, the king of France declared that the town would never pay taxes. So no one in that town, they now pay taxes, but back then they just didn't pay taxes. And there's a big statue to Saint Joan there. So I would want to see that, where she was from. That's about the only place I kind of wanted to see the cool stuff in Paris, but everything I see about Paris is no bueno right now. Tom Selleck to guest star in Apple TV comedy led by Elizabeth Banks. Oh, so it won't be funny. Great. Elizabeth Banks, I don't think is funny. I just don't. She did friggin' Cocaine Bear, and like half of it's amazing, and the other half is like, what the F are you doing? Jesse, Joan is a hero to everyone for that. Real G, best woman ever. That's why she's Saint Joan. All right, over at Cosmic Book News, Marvel TV's new mandate blames homework, but fans quit because the shows were bad. Yeah. Look, the shows were bad probably because these people didn't do their homework, but they made it their mission not to do their homework. Understand the mandate at that time, and it's probably changed since then, but this is what I heard. The mandate was, do not read the comics. We want to hear new voices from new creators. And therefore, they would hire anybody who fit the mold of a woman or a DEI person. So something sexual, something minority, whatever. That was the main requirement. No experience was not a requirement. Knowledge of the previous comics, not a requirement. And they actively discouraged all that. That was the mandate. And it's no wonder these shows suck. Because what do you have left? Okay, I get to make my own show with my voice, and 90% of this stuff was written by women, and you could tell they're written by women because they star women, and all they characters do is complain about men. Except for Ms. Marvel. I heard that was more, East Asian stuff. But kind of complained about other women because it was like a daughter in a relationship with her mother. And it's just like, what the F, man? None of these characters were part of comics. Not like this. She-Hulk was part of comics, but she was a light character, a funny character, a fun character. Men liked reading She-Hulk. I read She-Hulk. I bought the run until the comic ended. It always would end after a while because it didn't have enough fan base, but it was a fun comic. The women who took over these shows obviously hate men. Like, it's painfully obvious to me. So when you have a show where all the character does is she sleeps around with certain men that she likes, but other men who hit on her, they're the worst people ever. And then they're like two-dimensional characters. They, hey, baby, how you doing? Like those kinds of characters. Oh, wait, you're walking away? No one walks away from me. Like, no one talks that way. No one talks that way. Yeah, there are obnoxious dudes out there who hit on women. But, yeah, I mean, at least get the dialogue right. James Gunn's Lanterns Episode 2 turns Hal Jordan into Jon Stewart's White Man. So you could tell why I don't want to watch Lanterns. I'm not going to waste a second of my time. I would encourage you not to waste a second of your time watching Lanterns. Muschietti reportedly says The Brave and the Bold on hold until Paramount merger is settled. Muschietti has the worst luck as a director. He gets these gigs and like stuff happens and it's rough, man. It's sometimes very rough. He's like one of these guys who gets a project and they kind of don't let him do what he wants, and then they change it or then they delay it, and like it's kind of not his fault. And we don't see a lot of his real work, I feel, because they're constantly screwing him over in that department. Like, just let the guy make a movie. Canceled Iron Man game from Just Cause developers leaks in 97 minutes of PS3 footage. Okay. Avengers Endgame Encore ticket sale for August 25th. Standard screens won't get the Doomsday footage. Oh, you got to go to IMAX just to see it? Screw you. It's going to leak online 10 seconds after it's out. Grant Morrison reviews Lanterns. Kyle Chandler is playing Dr. McCoy, not Hal Jordan. All right, on that note, I got to go pee. Hold on one sec. Joan's on the floor. She'll have to entertain you from there. Hold on. I'll be right back. Oh. Be right back, Joan. Hang tight. Wait. One sec. Jesus, Joan. Whew. All right, I'm back. Jeez. You ever step in dog pee in your bare feet? I just did. Thanks a lot, Joan. Anyhow, Godzilla and Kong supernova test screening reactions rank it above the New Empire. All right, that's good. I haven't seen any of these. I I kind of like Godzilla. I like the idea of Godzilla more than I like watching the movies. Clint Miller, Little Joan, Little Joan. Odyssey, digital and 4K release date. Odysee gets home November 17th, but streaming is months away. Don't care. Don't want to say it. Jeff Johns opens up about his DC Warner Bros. Years and how they built to Redcoat. That's his new comic. It looks kind of cool. Jeff Johns reacts to Lanterns as Rob Liefeld argues he deserves more credit for Lanterns? Come on, Rob. I didn't even remember you. What did you draw? Bad renderings on when Hal used the ring? I mean, look, Green Lantern was big in the early 60s because the space race was big, and they retroed him into a space character. And then that era was over, and the character was established, and into the 70s, comics were big, and Hal was in the mix, but he was like the least popular of the guys. I mean, he didn't even make it into the Super Friends until later. Jeff Johns is writing a Chapel one-shot with Rob Liefeld on art. Who cares? That's a character I so don't care about. All right. Let's just move on. I don't want to badmouth Rob Liefeld. I like him. He's a really nice guy, but I kind of hate most of his comics. Who has the most leverage, Paramount or Banta? Paramount. Paramount has the money. And I don't know why they need the aggravation. I hope on October 1st he friggin' leaves. He just pulls up stakes and like, okay, you can't screw us. We're not in the state anymore. We don't operate in the state of California. We make our movies in Texas. What are you going to do then, AG? You're going to go to theaters and stop the movies from being distributed? Probably try. Let's see. DC FCC, Disney FCC lawsuit. Media watchdogs seek to enter First Amendment case. Yeah, I don't think that's really going anywhere, but it is amusing to watch ABC sweat the fact they may not have licenses soon. Over at Hollywood and Toto, Colony, these zombies get smarter and deadlier. This looks like a good movie. Oh, God. Sorry. I can't stop belching. Those who anointed Yang Sang-ho, the next great zombie director, likely missed his follow-up. Oh, so this is a follow-up to Train to Busan? Let me see. That he's talking about Peninsula, which is awesome. If you've seen Train to Busan, first see that one. Then the sequel is Peninsula, and it's badass because there's a car chase through a town or through Seoul when it's overrun by zombies, and it's the most awesome thing I've ever seen. I have that thing playing on loop in my brain. It's great. So this is a concept. The Colony is a concept I actually used. I'll just go ahead and say it now. On the Webcomic Factory, I have a comic called The Horror of Colony 6. And it's similar in scope to what he's doing. The premise is it is a space colony. It takes place in the future, and they get to a place where it's a planet, and they build a colony, and one of the colonists gets infected by basically mold that turns him into a zombie, and then he gets back into the colony, and it starts killing people, and they get infected, and then the zombies are talking via the mold, and they are, coordinating to kill everybody. So it's a very similar concept. I'm not sure where the mold fungus comes from in the movie. I think somebody develops it, but it looks badass, and he's a good director. So sign me right the F up. I saw the trailer for this. It looks really cool. Paramount denies leaked claims came from them after Rob Bonta cancels merger talks. So I guess there was some sort of leak, and the AG announced, we're done. Disney offers executives early retirement package as cost-cutting push deepens. This is a typical thing big corporations do. In order to trim the fat, they will offer early retirement packages to anyone who wants to leave the company early, because the idea is we're going to have to fire a bunch of people, but if you take this cool package, you can leave with all this extra money. Right? It's not the worst idea I ever heard. However, if you can survive, you still get to keep your job and maybe your career. I know I had relatives go through that. I had one relative, because he looked very young. He survived the Great Purge, but he went from having a secretary at an office, and he had a secretary in one room and he had his own office, to going back into a cubicle. So, it's sort of a mixed bag, but you could take an early retirement, but you might have to go back to work and start your career over. Kit Harington replaces Nicholas Hoult as Gilderoy Lockhart. We read that. Guy Gardner will have an updated haircut in Man of Tomorrow. Big mistake. Big mistake. I mean, Guy Gardner is the damn bowl cut. That's the whole hilarious part of him. I think it's a big mistake to try to handsome him up. Nathan Fillion already wore the wig. What are you going to do? Why are you going to ruin it now? Why does James Gunn have to ruin everything he touches? You write one good movie, and then everything else, well, Suicide Squad was good too. God damn, man. Just let him keep the bowl cut? Why are you going to change it? This guy's always changed things. All right. Moving on. Looking over at the Breitbart. This is hilarious if you didn't hear about this. The WNBA rules that Ennis Cantor Freeman, Royce White, ineligible for draft. Now, this is the same WNBA that says trans women are women and they could be in the draft. But these two men who say they're trans women, they can't be in the draft. Why is that? Yeah, they can't answer the question, so they just cut them out. Now, they're a private company. They could do what they want, but they spend a lot of time complaining that they don't make enough money. Clint Miller, remember when Disney offered a severance package to their American employees if they stuck around to train their Indian replacements? I do not remember that, but I could totally see them doing it. A lot of corporations do that too. Ennis Cantor Freedom is hilarious, by the way. He went to a WNBA game with that t-shirt. I think he got thrown out. So, good for them. Good for them trying this. I don't know what's going to happen now that they've officially said no. I guess they could sue them. U.S. set for largest mass visa revocation in history, targeting up to 200,000 foreigners. Adios. Haitians self-deporting to Canada after Trump ends temporary amnesty. Okay. I mean, I don't like that for you, Canucks. That's rough. But maybe that'll help you in the long run. Because maybe that will hasten the people in your country to go, wait a minute. Now I don't want any of the immigrants here. Because they'll just overwhelm the system, and then everybody will get mad, and hopefully they'll elect somebody other than, I don't know, a globalist. ICE agents arrest over 1,300 illegal aliens across Maryland and Virginia. All right. Mark Carney says Canada at war after failed U.S. trade talks. Okay, I'll get my syrup somewhere. Top Trump moments from IndyCar Freedom 250 Grand Prix. I didn't see any of this, but I heard the rumors. So, They took a lap in the presidential limo, so that's kind of cool. Then the Trump waved the green flag to start the Freedom Grand Prix, so that's cool. Trump revealed IndyCar owner Roger Penske tried 211 times over 20 years to get an Indy race in D.C. Cool. But when he came to Trump, it was done in 15 minutes. Interior Secretary Doug Burnham and AG Todd Blanche stopped by to talk to the president. And they waved to the cameras. American Kyle Kirkwood says he was elated to see Trump cheering him after he won the Freedom 250 Grand Prix. Okay. So that was the highlights. All right. Sounds like it was cool. Video. Tree trimmer accused of crushing coworker's head with grapple during Shadow Puppets game. Dude, you can't mess around when you're doing that kind of stuff. Jesus. I don't want to see the video. Pro-life advocates warn New Jersey law could criminalize prayer outside abortion clinics. I'm 100% sure that's what our stupid governor, Mikey Sherrill, had in mind. Not that it would officially do that, but that it would give pause to anybody who prayed outside of abortion clinics or whatever. Look, here's what I think. I think, rare and legal should have been the metric. And after a certain date, you got to make other arrangements, right? So, unless it's extraordinary circumstances. Now, there should be a different category for extraordinary circumstances, right? If you got pregnant through force, well, that's a different category than you were just screwing around and you got pregnant. If you're just screwing around and you got pregnant, yeah, you should have a window of time. You could take drugs or go get an abortion or whatever. That's up to you. But it should be done early. And it shouldn't be encouraged, but it's available. And then after a certain time, like, you're 4 months in, it's like you got to just, look at adoption or whatever. And that should be it. And in most countries in the civilized world, that's the rule. That's the rule 100%. Now we've gotten a situation where now there's no more Roe v. Wade, so states can do whatever they want. What will eventually happen is we will eventually get there through that process. Some states will make it practically illegal. Some states, like my state, it's like, up until birth, which is just barbaric. That's too much. Eventually, enough politicians will lose their job that we'll get right back in the middle. But it's going to take a while. So, and this, again, it's more accelerationism. Mikey Sherrill is just putting another nail in the Democrats' political coffin with a law like this. So, the people who stayed home last election and somehow didn't vote, and Mikey Sherrill got in, are finally going to get up their ass next time around and go, this woman's a menace, we got to get her out. And screw these Democrats. That's what eventually I did. So that's where everybody here is heading. Because the incumbent party always eventually wears out their welcome, and then you flip the state. And that's what eventually happens in New Jersey. It happens over a long period of time or a short period of time. Unfortunately, we got to go another 6 years or whatever it is in New Jersey. I forget. I think it's 6 years before this woman will finally be tossed out of office on her A, hopefully, along with the legislature. That's really the key in the state. You got to get the legislature also behind a Republican governor or the other party governor. Iowa asked Supreme Court to uphold state immigration law. Garbage landslide in Guinea kills 30. How much garbage do people have in Guinea? Jesus. Study reveals United Health's profit margins are 4 times what it claimed. Oopsie. Beijing outraged as U.S. warns Dominican Republic of espionage risk with Chinese tech. Yeah, I'd warn you, but I mean, is really the Chinese going to spy on the Dominican Republic for what? Van Hollen, Trump has committed impeachable offenses. Shut up, Van Hollen. Susan Collins, Trump's tariffs on Canada a mistake. See, that's I don't agree with her, but that's a reasonable take. Of course, it's from a ostensibly Republican, which she has to be reasonable. If she was a Democrat, as she should probably run, she'd probably say something more outrageous. But that's politics. Sorry, I'm so friggin' thirsty. Entertainment. California AG Rob Bonta cancels Paramount settlement talks. Anti-Defamation League, other major Jewish groups, slammed Disney's Mark Ruffalo for anti-Semitic Paramount merger comments. Ain't that a weird mix? So, the Anti-Defamation League, who's been, kind of not useful. Clint Miller, Corzine lost $1.5 billion. Don't know where it went. That's how a Chris Christie gets elected. Yep. So the Anti-Defamation League, which has beclowned itself, in my opinion, but now it's going after Mark Ruffalo because the enemy of my enemy. So good luck there, Mark. Now you got to deal with the ADL. Paramount accuses Disney star Mark Ruffalo of anti-Semitism over Warner Brothers merger attack. Former Charge star Raquel Lee accuses Disney of ignoring on-set rape and sex abuse. Jesus. Well, that's no bueno. If true. North Carolina, USA Brittany Bolton House sues Miss USA pageant for defamation. Dutch quit 2027 Eurovision Song Contest because Israel? Not a good look, Dutch people. Shelley Fabares, Johnny Angel singer, The Donna Reed Show, and Coach star dies at 82. I couldn't believe this woman was 82. So, there she is on the left. That's not her at 82. That's her around the time of Coach. But, holy cow. Didn't realize how old she was. R.I.P. Michael Wright, the 5 Heartbeat star, dies at 70. R.I.P. So, Meghan Markle dropped from consideration in Guy Ritchie series after intense UK fallout. Good. Can't stand this woman, Meghan Markle. I'm glad she's out of the country. Please just stay in the UK and enjoy your children and millions and millions and millions of dollars. Like, why must you impose yourself on the rest of us? You have all the money in the world. You have the greatest life. You won. You won. You literally married a prince. You literally married a prince. And you can't just go live your life. No. You got to have a TV show where everybody loves you. Look, here's all Diana did to be loved. She just did charities. She was like, oh, I have lots of money. Well, I guess I'll give back. That's all she did. That's all she did. Now later, the money I think kind of corrupted her and she got into some stuff. But generally, everybody loved her because she did charity work. People can forgive, a transgression here or there. If you did years and years of charity work, why doesn't this woman do charity work? Like, I think she'd be okay at it. I mean, she's good looking enough. She has training as an actress. She'd probably be a good spokesperson for whatever charity she wanted to do. For Diana, it was removing landmines. That's a nice charity. Why not take up the plight of orphans and help the orphans? Or whatever. Just pick a charity. They're all out there. And then just raise the money for them. A bunch of rich people, I assume, held some dinners and some fundraisers, and you give a speech, people will pay attention to you during the speech, and you could televise it. But nobody wants to see you talk about your problems. You don't have any problems. Not ones worth talking about in public anyway. Like, people who have cancer and can't pay their medical bills, can't pay their regular bills, and they're getting divorced, and their kids are on drugs, those people have problems. You don't have any kind of problem like that. You know, maybe you have a family member on drugs, but that's about it. You have all the money in the world to have that person shipped to a rehab clinic at a moment's notice. So don't go on TV talking about your problems. Number one, just do charity work. Do it for like the next 5 years. Just for the next 5 years, dedicate yourself to raising money for charities. And then just cite your stats. Say, oh, I raised $100,000 here, $20,000 there, $80,000 here. Just keep raising the money. And the longer you do that, the more people go, oh, she's a pretty good person. It's so simple. Celebrities say they're getting scammed by fake podcast bookings. Interesting. I mean, there are a lot of podcasts out there, and the problem is there's too many. I mean, I'm trying to go on podcasts to promote my book, and I love them, but sometimes these podcasts don't have a lot of viewers. It's just the bottom line. Oh, Indie Phantom's back. Hey, there he is. What's up, Tony? Last day of vacation tomorrow, so next week should be back on a regular chat participation. These people aren't big on being charitable. That is true. And that's the problem. So, you finally make it. You marry a prince. You have millions and millions of dollars. You already been on TV. I mean, that's all. If I was in her position, that's all I would do. I would just do charities all day long. What charities will we do today? That's it. You do that for about 4 or 5 years, and it's done. Indie Phantom. It's simple, but people complicate S. They certainly do. All right. Let's wrap things up with New York Post. What's going on here? We're still talking about this. Canoodling Central Park lawyer getting forced out of firm after being caught in viral New York City smooch fest. So he apparently went to Central Park and ended up making out with some girl I think he was having an affair with. Not smart. Big news, Trump scores major win as Supreme Court clears way for mail-in voting order ahead of midterms. That should help a lot. Except everybody will ignore it. Indie Phantom, I tried to chime in on Rumble. I am Sofa Cinema over there. I know. I sometimes forget that, though. As you probably guessed. Yes. But sometimes I forget because I'm just constantly busy. Embarrassing details of millionaire 49ers owner at $140 trailer park prostitution bust. That is embarrassing. Excuse me. Jesse says, hi, Phantom. Indie Phantom, who was the smooched? I think it was, so it was a lawyer and some woman in his office or something. But this is like, Indie Phantom, hey, Jesse. This guy is a millionaire. Imagine being a millionaire and you go to a trailer park for $140 prostitute. I mean, those numbers don't add up. Dude, you're a millionaire. You know, spend some money. Get off your wallet and at least get a hot chick. I mean, look, maybe the trailer park girl is hot, but Jesus, dude. Is that really a safe thing to do, to go to a trailer park? Dude, that's like crazy. I'm sure there's mobsters out there that will hook you up with a $2,000 a night hooker who'll blow the doors off the back of your head. What are you doing? You gotta have a girl who's tested, man. And you're a millionaire 49ers owner. You can't fly out to Nevada where it's legal? What are you doing, man? What are you doing? That's crazy. And he's the San Francisco's 49ers owner. So he's in San Francisco. He's not that far from Los Angeles or Las Vegas. Las Vegas is just a plane trip away. It's like a couple hours, tops. I'm sure he's got a private jet. Inside the trailer park where the 49ers chief was arrested for trying to pay sex worker $140. $140. You cheap bee. Indie Phantom, trailer trash is in, I guess? Maybe it's his fetish. It's like, get up off your wallet, dude. Let's see. Oh, I'm a neurologist. The quickest test for dementia in just 3 hand movements. Uh-oh. I'm going to try this right now. Indie Phantom, that is nuts. Looking for a cheap lay. Yeah, I mean, like, with millions of dollars, I mean, there are normal women who would probably, before this scandal, get it on with you. Just because you're worth millions of dollars and likely to throw them a diamond watch or something. All right, 3 hand movements. So this is the C. To check how well the frontal lobe is working, he shared a social media video demonstrating the quickest test for dementia. It involves 3 simple hand motions. Known as the Luria test or first edge palm test, patients are tasked with making 3 gestures with their hands. First, they make a fist with one hand, placing it in the palm of the second hand. Then they open the hand, placing the pinky side down on their opposite palm like a karate chop. Finally, they turn that hand facing down, patting their open palm before one hand on the other. Okay? According to Hussein, the motions test different parts of the brain, specifically the motor function. For some people, they can't do the movement smoothly. So you got to do that, and then that, and then that. Okay. I think I got it. Studies have shown that over 50% of people with Alzheimer's disease, the most common cause of dementia, struggle with the test. Huh. Indie Phantom, 3 hand movements? That's more than whacking off. It is. I heard there's a peanut butter test where you sniff peanut butter because peanut butter has a very strong smell. You sniff in both nostrils, and if one is stronger than the other, you might have the precursor for dementia. Tourist appalled at server's disgusting note on bill after making simple request. Waiter tried to throw the receipt away, but shocked diner threatened to call the police if he did. Oh, it's in some other language. Place your bets. I gotta know now that I've read the headline. A Brazilian tourist in Italy was shocked and appalled after the waitstaff in a restaurant instructed the chef to spit in her food as an alleged goof. Oof. That's no bueno. I'd lose my damn mind if I saw that receipt. Oh, I'd be so pissed off. Operation Economic Outcast is a recipe for success against Iran. Yeah, but how long is it going to take? That's the problem. The problem is, oh, can we not beat Iran in a war or economic thing? Sure, but how long is it going to take? If it can't be done before the midterms, it kind of F's everything up. 1/3 of Iran's imports come from the UAE, most flowing through Dubai. All right. Nearly 50% of Iran's non-oil exports go to the UAE, sending $6.5 billion to the regime in the last 10 months. 70% of Iran's fuel oil exports went to the UAE as well. So the UAE suspending trade with Iran could have a crippling effect. That sounds pretty bad. Indie Phantom, Tony, I have Rumble Premium now, so downloaded a few of your shows for travel. It's a good perk. Better price than YouTube and trying to use it more. Rumble is improving. I'm glad because I bought stock in Rumble and the stock is up since I bought it. Let's see. This is weird. Sewer rats. New York authorities have yet to nab mole people in manhole next to Penn Station. It's weird. Oh, man. I can't stop belching from that Chinese food. Naked man nabbed with undressed 14-year-old girl in Long Island Nature Preserve. Jesus! Russian trainee with butterfingers nearly blows himself up with a rocket launcher. Not good. Police free missing nurse found gagged and chained to bed after alleged kidnapping by ex. Oh my God, she must have been happy to be found. Indie Phantom, good stock buy, I say. This is not financial advice. I have to say that. Yeah, I mean, when it goes up and down. It's up now. I don't know what I'm doing on stocks, though. I admit it. Teacher 65 denies sexually abusing boys at Catholic school, acting like she was in Sabrina Carpenter video. 65? That's crazy if true. One of Israel's most dangerous mob bosses shot dead by assassin at point-blank range. Holy crap. Yanis Yusheviv, head of the Caucasian Mafia, one of Israel's most dangerous criminals, was gunned down in Caesarea on Sunday, 10 years after surviving an assassination attempt. I know, crazy story, says Indie Phantom. Yeah, it's a crazy story. That's so weird. I got a weird fact. So Caesarea is short for Caesar, right? It's like another town in the Mediterranean named after Julius Caesar or one of his descendants. Indie Phantom. So crazy, it's probably true. So in the 1700s, for some reason, the Europeans thought Caesarea was a mispronunciation and was actually pronounced something in Latin like closer to Jersey. And so they named the Isle of Jersey in England after Caesar. Like, that was the intent. So the Isle of Jersey is supposed to be like an homage to Caesar. Then, when they named New Jersey, or West Jersey and East Jersey, they did it again. And the reason we're called New Jersey is they had coins, actually, it said Nova Caesarium, which they thought was a pronunciation of Caesar or Caesarea. And so that's kind of how New Jersey got its name, through a weird sort of misinterpretation of Caesar. The breakfast mistake you shouldn't make after age 40 can raise your risk to death up to 29%. Well, my mistake is getting up early enough to eat breakfast, but let's see what it is. People rave about oatmeal. Gross. Let's see. Is bacon? Are you going to tell me bacon's bad for me? More than 31,000 adults aged 40 and older found that timing your first and last calories of the day could be linked to how long you live. Okay. Indie Phantom, I watched most of Grand Prix race yesterday with my dad. It was super cool. The street races through DC camera footage is amazing now. Neat. So those who ate their first meal later afternoon specifically had an increased risk of dying early from any cause by 29%. Okay. When they ate, let's see. The later the participants ate their first meal, the greater the risk. Weird. So it doesn't matter what you eat, you just got to eat it early, apparently. Indie Phantom, I've gotten back into breakfast lately. Yeah, I have too. The girlfriend's got me up at an earlier time. So she's buying breakfast food. There's Ivanka Trump. Ivanka Trump's looking pretty good. Looking pretty svelte. She had a couple of kids, I think. So good for her. Jury's dismissed for the day after Clancy's defense denied mistrial over testimony about her being Catholic. What are we doing here? This woman, this should have been the shortest trial of the century. It should have been like, okay, she already admitted she murdered her 3 children. All right. Should she get life in prison or extra life in prison? Or should we execute her or what? Like, I'm against capital punishment. Just putting that out there. Indie Phantom, I love eggs, any style, and sausage. That's what she bought. But I had a whole video about this on Rumble. Indie Phantom, Ivanka is still smoking. She looks pretty good. But this Clancy woman, she killed her 3 children. And she paralyzed herself trying to end it all. So what good is her life at this point? Like, literally, what is she gonna do? She gonna let's say the best possible world for her is she gets 10 years in prison, gets out in like 2.5, and then what? What was she gonna work at Starbucks and just go on with her life? Oh, there she is on Tinder. Oh, hey, it's great to meet you. I'm so and so. Who are you? Oh, I'm Lindsay Clancy. I murdered my 3 children. I just got out of prison. Like, what kind of life is she even gonna have at this point? And who would trust her? I wouldn't trust Lindsay Clancy in my house. I literally wouldn't. Like, if she was free and somehow came to my house, I'd be like, and I found out who she was, I'd be like, you have to leave. And she'd be like, why? I'd be like, because you killed 3 of your children. I have no idea what you're going to do. Like, there's no rules with you, obviously. So you already crossed the line that very few human beings would cross. You'd cross just about any line, I think, if you killed your own children. Like, that's just bottom line. She is a danger, in my opinion, to anybody. If she would kill them and then try to off herself, who's to say she wouldn't do it in, she's working somewhere. Oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. Ah! Like, what is she going to do? And who are these crazy women supporting her? It's terrible. It's terrible what this has exposed. But I'm glad it's being exposed. You have women defending this woman. If you haven't read about this horrific murder, it's just awful. More from the WNBA, and it's Cantor making him look like a joke. Oh, dear God. Mamdani pitches $4 billion plan to finally fix New York City's crumbling BQE without slowing city down. Yeah, good luck with that. Indie Phantom. Yeah, you kill anyone, you are no bueno in most cases. Golf creator Giant deletes commercial with disturbing opening. He's pushing her out of the way of grabbing the wrong club. That's the joke. It's a joke. Okay, I don't know what that is. Electrician trapped for hours in a 130-foot sign had recorded final words to wife and kids. Jesus. Grim. Dems the breaks. Trump's obsessed Hochul record ripped in new ads from pro-Blakeman super PAC. Good luck, Blakeman. I hope you turn the state around. New York is one of the worst states to get a ticket in. My friend got a ticket in upstate New York, and I had to drive him all the way to court. They absolutely would not accept. He just wanted to pay the fine. They wouldn't accept it. He had to go in person to pay the fine. He didn't even know he had a ticket. We had to drive all the way to upstate New York to pay it at the municipal court. It was ridiculous. Indie Phantom, that's crazy, but he lived at least. Yeah. All right, sports, I don't care. Logan Paul's infamous ex-psychedelic retreats hits the market. Don't care. Kendall Jenner and Jacob Elordi hold hands at first PDA moment. Don't care. WNBA. Don't care. Cops hunting serial defecator wearing thong, mask, and shower cap who terrorized local businesses. Well, how the hell are you going to find this guy? I mean, he just disappears into the city with all the other thong, mask, and shower wearing shower cap wearing people, like you'll never find them. You'll never find that guy. Killer drone guided by AI slaughters 3 Ukrainians, sparking grave fears, living in a Terminator movie. Yeah, this is becoming screamers. They are getting more and more sophisticated. You throw AI into the mix, that's 100% Terminator and screamers. I've seen some of the horrific footage, just stumbled upon it on X. I mean, these things just hold a hand grenade and just fly it right at you. Just set it off. Kaboom. It's frightening. And I was at Stockton University campus the other day, and I heard the buzzing. I'm looking around. Finally, the drone goes, zzz. But guess what? That military drone ain't going to make that kind of noise. It'll be right on top of you before you even say it. And you're screwed. And they have ones that just fly over top of you. You don't see them. They drop the grenade. You see the grenade maybe, and then kablamo. And that's just these are the primitive ones. Indie Phantom, killer drones are upon us. Yeah. Now imagine the ones that have like a gun, the equivalent of a gun or a laser weapon. I mean, you're just effed. You're absolutely effed. They have all those. They have ones that, they're way up in the atmosphere. You can't even see them. They just get closer so they could guide the missiles to you. But they're working on, there's a science fiction concept which I'm sure is being worked on. It's called the smart bullet. And the idea was the smart bullet is linked to your DNA. And it only hits the person who has the right DNA. And it's zooms like a bullet, constantly scanning until it gets to the mark and then goes right through it and kills them. So, yeah, I mean, the technology's there. Imagine a missile like that. And it wouldn't have to be that big. It just has to be like, maybe this big, enough to hold a computer in it with an AI that has your DNA match and a scanner. And it's just zooming around, looking for you, scanning every person it could find. And then eventually, oh, there's the DNA. Boom. That's awful. That's super awful. Bougie chicken nuggets paired with caviar and more honey deuces than ever. Here's what you'll be served up at the U.S. Open. I'm sure all this food is insanely overpriced. Young Florida pilot who survived crash landing in ocean has flying in her blood, Dad says. Well, does she? Seems like she's got an issue, but okay. Maybe she'll get better. October 7th survivor reveals what life is like today as grim tragedies persist. That's a shame. Hope you can get over it. This is the Daredevils. So these are the two dummies that, I don't know, they climbed up the Empire State Building's tower. Indie Phantom, smart bullets will be the assassination tool. Probably happened already. Yeah, I mean, the technology's there. So here you've got these two daredevils. They put on a show on the top of the Empire State Building. Then they got arrested. Now they're making out outside the courthouse. So la-dee-da. I was told I'd never walk again. Now I'm trekking 6 million steps from the Brooklyn Bridge to the Santa Monica Pier. Good for you. Oh, damn it. This we already talked about. Judge dismisses major parts of the Ben & Jerry's lawsuit accusing Unilever of silencing social activism. Again, hippies who are trying to run Ben & Jerry's into the ground. You're an ice cream company. You make ice cream. Ice cream I used to enjoy, by the way. But now I won't eat it because I don't want to be involved in your politics. I don't want to be associated with that. I just want delicious ice cream. And now I go to Royal Crown anyway. Royal Crown, by the way, blueberry season sadly is over. Moment of silence for the blueberries. But it had to end. It was a glorious 2 weeks, but it's over. Now we're into raspberry soft serve, and then peach is coming up. Jesse, those two I found very annoying. The dudes who climb the tower. Yes. So I don't want your politics, Ben and Jerry's, and now I don't want your ice cream. And this is why Unilever doesn't want you to run your Twitter account anymore. I imagine. I mean, just stop doing social activism. Like, it was fine to do, like, oh, save the whales. Like, nobody wants the whales to die. Like, light activism was acceptable. You know, the whole Gaza thing? Dude, you can't get involved in that. Indie Phantom, Ben and Jerry ice cream was awesome until I wanted nothing to do with it. Exactly. I say the same thing about Seth Rogen. I mean, Seth Rogen was really awesome, and then he got super political, and now I'm very conflicted, and I don't like that. I mean, it's one thing to be a little political, okay? You're a little political. It's another thing to be like Dennis Miller. Like, that's part of his brand. He talks about complicated things. You know, there are other guys who do that kind of thing. Bill Maher now, super political because he does a political show. Like, if that's part of your brand, okay, then people know what they're getting into. You make ice cream, and then suddenly it's like, save the Palestinians? No, you can't do that. Indie Phantom, I have been eating Chapman's in Canada. Rum raisin, orange pineapple, and cookie dough are some faves. All right, we are done. Is the end of Oak Street worth seeing at a movie theater near you, or should you wait for streaming? You should wait for streaming and then watch something else, would be my answer to that. And that's it. We are done. We are done with the thing today. That was the box office. Indie Phantom got in late, so just so you know, Spider-Man topped the box office with 39 million, and it's well on its way to being the third highest grossing movie of all time. Indie Phantom, I love Dennis Miller, even his $1 million performance at Bordello of Blood. Yeah, it's a shame. He hasn't been in anything in a long time. I don't know if he has a show. He probably has a podcast somewhere. He is also the favorite of Razor Fist. Of course, he likes him. But Spider-Man is currently number 6 of all time. Indie Phantom, glad I caught the end. Still didn't see Spider-Man. Yeah, me neither. I'm looking forward to it, though. They're already taking... they're already looking at streaming. It's going to be like $30 on Amazon. I don't know if I want to pay that. I might wait, but I will see it eventually. So we're right. This movie's right behind Titanic. I think Titanic's number 5. Niza is number 4, which is a Niza 2, which is that Chinese animated feature that did 2.27 billion, and one of the other avatars is like number 3, or vice versa. Indie Phantom, Miller had a great podcast for a while. So by next weekend, I think this movie should be at 2.33 million or more, and that should put it above. That should put it at number 3. Now the next tier, the top 2 movies, Avatar is number 1, 2.9 million. I don't know how he got there. I hate that movie. Indie Phantom. Mind you, I haven't seen the previous 2 Spider-Man movies either. Oh, you should see them. They're good. Then next is Avengers Endgame. It's 2.79 million. This cannot reach that, I don't think. Maybe if you add in the DVD, I don't know, and Blu-ray. Maybe a year from now, it might be closer. I think it might get to 2.5 with all the bells and whistles, but I doubt it could get to that. Maybe if they when they do another when they do another sequel, they re-release this, it might make another $500 million. Avengers Endgame is expected to do like 300 to 500 million, and a re-release, they're adding more footage. So maybe if they do something like that for Spider-Man, Brand New Day, you might be able to get close to it or even beat it. I don't know. But yeah, they're going to try to pack on the box office with Endgame. And Endgame might actually end up beating Avatar, now that I think about it. Indie Phantom, I wasn't a fan of Homecoming. Just didn't feel like the comics I knew. The thing is, Tom Holland is so perfect as Peter Parker. He really is just nailing it. Now, Zendaya isn't great, but she's tolerable as MJ. Because MJ in the comics went through a bunch of different phases. And was always, like in the early days, she was just the hot chick. And then later, they tried to give her a personality. And they made her like a supermodel, which was like too much. The comic book guys did a little too much. So the Zendaya version is sort of like, well, she's super hot, but she's not she's not like a vapid airhead. Although maybe they'll make her a supermodel in this movie. I don't know. And then they kind of balance it out with Ned, who's his friend, and that kind of works in the movies. Because they're kind of like three friends who grew up together, blah, blah, blah. And then Flash is in there, but I kind of don't like their version of Flash. I think they could have done better with Flash. But anyhow, Tom Holland he's just perfect at it. He's got like the perfect voice. He's got the perfect sort of build for it. And now, he's doing the whole Peter Parker works for the Bugle. He's broke. And everybody hates him kind of thing. Which was the era of comics I read. Indie Phantom. Zendaya as MJ is just off to me. And then his buddy, who wasn't even in the comics that I recall. Well, yeah, I mean, like, Peter had all sorts of friends that would come in and out of the comic, right? Like, Indie Phantom. Flash in Spider-Man? Yeah, Flash is in it. But they don't make him a football jock. They make him a rich guy. And I think he's Indian. So he's a rich guy, and he is an a-hole to Peter, but he's a different kind of a-hole. Like, he's in their friend group in high school, and he's an a-hole to him, but like he's also, just like Flash in the comics, the biggest fan of Spider-Man. Like, crazy fan of Spider-Man. So he's using his money to kind of like, he wants to be friends with Spider-Man kind of thing. But I think they should have went with a bigger guy who was a jock too. But I don't know. For some reason, they didn't want to do the jock. So this is their version of it. It's not bad, but it's not great. He's not in it for long. And they threw in a couple other characters too, just to round out his class. There's like some girl who likes him. Some other girl who likes him, who's not in the comics either. Who's just really nice. And then... who else? There's like a couple other people in his clash. Then there is a jock who beats up Peter in one of the movies, or tries to, and doesn't succeed. But it's like a modern take, so it's not... It's meant to be more like Gen Z, right? So instead of having all the classic tropes of the jocks and the various cliques, like everybody's in different cliques, but they're all kind of friends, and it's all cool. So that's the difference, I think. Which isn't totally unrealistic, and I kind of didn't mind it. Like, I'm watching the movie. I didn't want to like it. I have to admit. Like, I didn't want to like Zendaya, but I didn't mind her. Like, because why is she there? She's there for Peter to save her. So she does some sort of like, oh, I put this together, Peter, for you. But it's not too bad. And now, when you get this far down the line, they made her more like Lois Lane than MJ, I'll say. That would be a good sort of analogy. And MJ in the Spider-Man movies, the current incarnation, is more like Lois Lane. So she's in the mix, helping Peter, but in the end, really, Peter is still saving everybody, which is what I really like about the Spider-Man movies. Like, nobody upstages Spider-Man in the Spider-Man movies. I will say that. So, anywho, I know, controversial opinions from the movie guy. I got to wrap this up. Thanks for tuning in. What's coming up? Let's see. Let me look at the calendar here. Holy crap. Oh, that's the wrong month. Okay. Yeah, I got nothing going on this week. Until Saturday, I'm doing the New Jersey Folk Festival, where I'm giving 2 different talks. I'm doing the Jersey Devil talk again, which I did last year there. And then I'm doing my pirate talk. So that's going to be fun. I look forward to that because I'm selling books and I'm getting paid both talks. But that's all I'm doing on the 29th. Then on Monday next week, I'm doing the Egg Harbor City Historical Society. So that's at 6 p.m. And then we're into September, baby. And everything is about the Pine Barrens Makers Fest on September 19th and 20th for me. That's going to be crazy. All right, I got to go. Jesse says, alrighty, gang, I'm a head out to bed. You guys have a good night. You have a good night too, Jesse. Indie Phantom says, have a good one. See you next time, Tony. Bye, all. Good to have you back, my friend. And shout out to Clint Miller, who probably already went to bed. I'm Tony D. Little Jones behind me. We'll see you in the next one.